So I'm just intentionally waiting a moment for more of these students to come back. I think we had 24, and so 6 are probably, or maybe just joining the session. So give me a moment. So and then as soon as I do the breakout rooms, I'm going to come, once I put you into those rooms and you accept that, I'm going to come, as usual, come visit you in those rooms. And you'll know when I visit because it'll say, hey, the session's being recorded like normal, because the recording, it follows the session host. So again, one person per room should share their screen, and y'all should unmute your mics and try to solve this pretty quickly as a group together. And let's make sure that everyone, as they say, no student left behind, let's make sure everyone in your respective groups understands, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and share rooms, and my Mariam, since this started with you and I, me teaching you, I'd like you to share your screen in whatever group you're in. So if you get in my Mariam's group, that can be good or bad. Maybe you wanted to share your screen, but at the beginning, I'm gonna ask if, Mariam, I want you to share your screen. I don't know, there's 2 Mariams here, but here we go, breakout rooms. Let's make 5 rooms of 4 participants each. Here we go.
All right, so who's sharing the screen?
I can go ahead and do it if you need me to.
And also, is this my Mariam? Which Mariam is this?
Me.
Who's me?
MC.
Okay, well then share your screen. And put your video next time, my love.
So this is what I went ahead and did.
Okay, good. If you can hit stop on yours, please. Actually, I'll hit stop. I wanted to, I want also, Redwan, I'm gonna want you to share your screen. Also, Mariam, I want you to share your screen. Go ahead, Mariam, share yours as well. Did you start at all? Because you have it done, Nate, which is great. So you did it quickly. But I'd like y'all to spend, you did it ahead. So that tells me you have some experience. Let's pretend that we don't, and help each other. Walk through. Mariam, you need to go ahead and solve this by making a new program. Yeah. You need to first save it. What is the purpose of this program? What are we doing here, Redwan?
We're finding an average of 3 numbers.
Correct. So I would call it average 3 numbers. Okay, hit save. And I don't like to recreate the wheel, so I would often copy my comments from one of the previous programs, like above where it says miles to kilo. So Mariam, that's what I would do, come up there. Why not just copy all of that, all of it? And you can change some of that. Let's go to your average of 3 numbers, paste. And instead of get miles, how about just, instead of get miles, call it get input from user. Instead of compute KM, call it compute AVG. Okay, so Mariam, you tell me what to write on line number 2. And then I'm gonna ask Redwan, get rid of miles equals 10 on line number 2. And what are you gonna put there instead, Mariam? We need to get an input from the user. How do we get an input from the user? So did you type anything inside your module 2 notes? Scroll down. Do you have anything with input and eval typed up? Yeah, I can see because you, as I mentioned, you type slow, and so you're probably not able to keep up. Okay, so you're going to definitely have to go revisit the video. So let's see if we can help out together. And Muddy, turn on your your camera, please. Okay, so let's go back to average of 3 numbers. And Nate, if you can try to give some suggestions and feedback, and Ridwan, you too.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So y'all can give some input on how she can go ahead and continue solving this on line 2. Muddy, you need a variable. So Nate, go ahead.
So what I did, I made my variable just A. My variables A, B, and C. So I
Yeah.
guess you could do, you know, A is the first number, B is the second number, and C is the third.
So get rid of eval equals, Muddy. He said put A equals.
And then you can go ahead and start doing the eval and input.
Do you know what to do, Muddy? Yes or no? Nope, it's okay. We went fast, and okay. So let me hit stop. And Nate, you go ahead. I'm going to go visit another room, and then explain your code and try to go through a little bit slowly for everyone in the room.
Oh, bro.
So who's sharing?
Me, Chloe.
Great. And the question I would ask for you to ask everyone is, does everyone in the room understand what you did perfectly? Or do we understand it?
Yeah, I understand.
We understand.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Musab?
Yes, we understand.
Cool. And I will go visit another room real quick. So who's sharing here?
Sean.
I am.
Sean. Looks fantastic. I would want to ask, does everyone in the room understand what's going on?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Perfect. Perfect. Then I'm just going to go join another room real quick because I think most of us are done here.
It's just.
Do we have an answer?
Yeah. Wait.
Did you save this? Hit save, Control S. Yeah, and you got to save it somewhere. That's one way to save it. Who's sharing right now?
Me.
Who's me?
Mohan.
Mohan,
Yeah.
okay. So you num4, you summed them all together, then you did the average of them and you printed it. Looks good. I'm gonna go visit the final room. Oh yeah, go back quick. No, this looks great. I can see you'll have it correct, so great job.
Yeah.
Do all of you understand?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I'm gonna bring everyone back to the main room.
All right.
Just waiting for everyone to get back into the main room from the breakout rooms. And I see that I think every group had solved it correctly. Some of you, I think majority of people understood it perfectly. Let me do this and open up the participants. If you can give me a thumbs up in the participant window, if you understood it 80%, how about 90% or better? In the participant window. So make sure and keep your thumb up so I can see. So I see Mohan, Ayub. Mohan, your thumb is not up.
Wait, I'm trying. My
Okay,
thing
good. Because
closed
I'm
out.
thinking you're the one who coded it. So yeah, I know you understood it.
It closed out.
It's okay. You have to click on participants. Cool. So I see the overwhelming majority understood that, and that's great. For those who don't, you're welcome to afterwards ask me questions in Slack or post it for anyone to answer. Here is one possible solution where we used eval and input. We got input from the user. We evaluated it, and then we saved it into number 1, 2, 3 to those respective variables. But I want to, and then we computed the average, and then we displayed the result. But let me show you how easy this is intended to be. So file new, what if I'm going to call this, save it, call it area of rectangle. It's supposed to be this easy because once you've done one like this, area of circle, and area of rectangle should be identical. So copy the code, paste it here. Instead of get the radius of a circle, what do we need? Someone tell me, unmute. What do we need to get the area of a rectangle?
The formula for it.
No,
Length times the width.
yeah, we need a length and a width. So get the length and the width. Okay. So here, instead of getting a radius and saving it into radius, I'm going to say, please enter a value for the length. But now I need a second thing as well. So I'm going to say, please enter, and let's call this length. Please enter a value for the width. And I'm going to save this into width. Compute the area of the rectangle. And what's that area of a rectangle? Is simply length times width. And then we print the results. The area is this. So if I run this code, please enter the value for length, 10, please enter the value for width, 8, the answer should be 80. See, that's pretty straightforward. Once you've done one and you understand it, if I said, what's the area of a rectangle, area of something, I mean, all you need is to know the equation, okay? These are all the same once you've done a few of those. So what if the user entered something other than a number? The answer is that would give you an error, okay? That would give you an error, of course, if we ran this and please enter a value for length and the user entered 10. Please enter a value. It's not even going to let you do the rest because it's trying to evaluate it. And so it's immediately having an error, okay? But even if it did let you evaluate it, you would have had an error with the multiplication. I don't want to talk about that. So here, something that is now, because I told you we're going to do, and then we're going to back up and explain some more detail. So backing up, we've talked about variables. We've used variables. So what is a variable? Here, length. It's a variable. We're saving something, this input from the user, into length, right? Here on area of a circle, we're saving 10 into radius. So radius is a variable. So variables, what or how can you name variables? Meaning what characters can be used. Okay, variables are called identifiers. It's a type of identifier. An identifier in Python is a sequence of characters that consists of letters, digits, underscores, or asterisks. And an identifier must start with a letter or an underscore. It cannot start with a digit. So these are fine details, not most important for all of us, but the point is you can have, if I wanted to say area of, triangle equals 100. Let's just say I gave it that value. This is a valid variable name because it consists of letters and underscores. That's an underscore. If I did area dash of dash triangle, this variable name is illegal. You cannot have dashes. You're allowed to have underscores. You're allowed to have numbers. If I had a variable that I called x77, that's a valid variable name. It's legal. There's no error, okay? Because you can have digits. But if I said 7x as a variable, thinking that's a name of a variable, that's illegal because a variable cannot start with a digit. So in Python, what can variables consist of? Variable names can consist of letters, numbers, digits, and underscores, but variables cannot start with a digit. Okay? So for example, even this variable, underscore 77xxx yyy that's a variable, equals 10. That's allowed. That's a legal, very strange, but a legal variable name. Here, the name of this variable is this, and we're saving 10 into it. That's a legal variable name, okay? So that is an identifier, a type of variable name, okay? So examples of legal identifiers: area, radius, number one. These are illegal identifiers, okay, because it starts with a 2. It's illegal. Here, this is an illegal identifier. Why? Because it has a plus sign. That's not a variable name. A variable name cannot include plus signs. Also, Python is case sensitive. So the variable area is different than the variable area with a capital A, which is also still different from a variable area with all capitalization, okay? So we've talked about this. We've talked about assignment statement in detail. More examples of assignment statements. So here, just to briefly cover this, on this statement, y equals 1, I'm taking the value 1 and I'm assigning it into y. I'm saving it into y. For this second line, I'm taking the number 1.0 and I'm saving it into radius. For this next line, I'm looking at the right of this equal sign, and I see all of this stuff, 5, and I don't know if I covered this, so let me make it clear. If I want to, that is a legal variable name above. Okay, just multiplication operator. In Python, we multiply using the asterisk. I cannot spell, which is shift 8. Okay, so I can say number equals 10 times 7, and then I print number. So number is number. That will print 70. Okay, so just make sure you know that that's multiplication. So here, I'm saying 5 times, then we have 3 divided by 2 plus 3 times 2. That's just mathematics. A lot of you probably remember the famous, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, right? So you know the rules. You do parentheses first, then you do please excuse. What is excuse? Exponent, my, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, right? This is true. So same thing in programming languages. You perform the mathematical operations according to the parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction algorithm that you've learned since grade school. Here, notice on this one, x equals y plus 1. Again, we start on the right and we evaluate the right side, and then we save that into x. Okay, so if I were to say a equals 10, y equals 12, and then dd, or about zz equals aa plus yy. What's going to happen here? We're going to start on the right side of the assignment. What is AA? AA is 10. What's YY? YY is 12. So AA plus YY, 10 plus 12 will be 22. So when we print ZZ, or if I print ZZ is ZZ, it will print ZZ is 22. Okay, so just make sure we understand assignment. And we computed the radius. Cool. So this is where we kind of were. I want to get to another problem. I don't want to do swapping. Bear with me. Program 3, no, I don't want to do that. Bear with me. I'm going to scroll ahead, see if I can give you a problem. There's a question in the chat. Cool. let's see. I would like to draw your attention to Python. I'm sorry, to Python, to Replit. I'm looking at the time here. I would like to go to Replit. And so here I'm logged in to Replit as a student. And if I hit refresh now that it's 1 o'clock on our classroom in Replit, you should notice that there should be more problems. Yeah, because they were just released, it says a minute ago. Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more problems. I'm going to go ahead. I'm looking at the time. It's been an hour. I don't want to go usually past an hour, hour 15. And I'd like to leave you some time to work on these replets. So what I'd like to do is there are only 6 new problems for today. Try to go in order, because sometimes it may not always display in order, but I think this is displaying in order, right? So lab 1, problem 5, finish that one. This one is simply, if you look at it, it's just they want you to write a program that displays the result of that. So you're basically going to write that all as a large mathematical operation on the right side of an assignment statement. Problem 2.1. Let's look at this. Write a program that takes 3 numbers and prints their sum. Okay. And you know what? There are sometimes I have here some comments that are helpful. You can just delete it. Okay. Problem 2. Let's see. Again, read in a name, print hello Harry. This is all stuff that you should be able to do based off of what we covered. Okay. Here is read in from the user a base and a height of a triangle, and then print the area. That should be pretty straightforward. But this is one I wanted to stop at and discuss briefly. Here, with these replets, look at this example input that I'm highlighting. That's the example input, and here's the example output. Notice you don't see anything on the sample input or output that I'm highlighting. You don't see anything that says, please enter the base. Please enter the height. You don't see that because it should not exist. So if you came over here and to start coding your program and you said base equals eval input, please enter the base. And if you did everything correct and you calculated the correct answer and you submitted it, it would say wrong answer. Why? Because this is considered output from the perspective of your program, meaning the output is what happens when you run your program. So you should not even type, please enter the base. What you're going to do is you're just going to do it just like this. Delete. You're just going to say eval input. So inside the input statement, there's no prompting. You're not saying, no, please enter B. You're not doing that. You're not putting anything inside it. It's empty. So when you run your program, you're going to see nothing, and it's just waiting for you to enter the number 3. And then it's going to wait for you to enter the number 5. Okay? So I've kind of like started this one for you here. Base equals eval input. And then on the next line, you're going to say height equals eval input. Okay? And then you'll calculate the answer. I wanted to draw your attention to that. What about 4 and 5? These are all problems that you can think about and solve on your own. Do we have any questions? Because that is basically it for today. And we will pick up on Thursday. But these replets, I wanted to intentionally leave you time instead of going to around 1:15 today, because we should probably plan that we end after about, around 1:15, 1:20 each time. So I intentionally wanted to give you about those 15 minutes so you could try to work on replets, because of course, as I mentioned, there's no grade for this. You're going to get in, you're going to get out what you put in of your time and your energy. But I'd like to encourage you to try to do these replets before next time. So the due date, what does that mean since you're not graded? But the due date within Replit is for these 5 problems or 6 problems is tomorrow night. So when we meet on Thursday, you're already done with them. So if you can, there are still some thumbs up if you don't mind, if y'all can put your thumbs down. And then anyone have, pardon me, my cough is fun. Anyone have questions for me? Okay. For some of us, we're going fast. For others, we're going slow. I recognize that. We have a large disparity here of ages and experience, and you just have to be patient with that. But I believe after next class, let me see here. I'm going to pull this up to see what we're covering. Yeah, I believe after next class, I'm going to go through quickly next class. So try to just buckle up. After next class, we're going to have like another 10, 15 replets. And for those who are interested and really just want to, grow and get good at this, I can even give you the assignment that I give to college students as their first assignment, which is a small program, but it's more meaningful than these replet programs. A question that was just asked by someone on a private message was, is there an exam at the end? No, there's no exam because I'm not testing you. There's no grade. This is just for you to learn. Cool. Any questions? Yeah. Try to knock out these replets. I'm not going to, although I could, maybe next time I'll warn y'all and I'll go show y'all who's doing the replets, because I can see who's done them, and most of you have done all of the replets, which is fantastic. Some of the others have not, and that's okay, but try to, because if you don't come here, if you come here and then you don't do the replets, that's kind of a failure. If you watch the coach kick the ball every day at soccer practice, but you never kick it, you're not going to learn. You can buy the best ball. You can go to the best practices. You can learn the diameter of the ball. You can memorize the weight of the ball. You can memorize all the rules of football, of soccer, whatever you want to call it. But until you actually start running and kicking and looking like a goofball like I do when I play soccer, then you're never going to learn. So you got to learn by my message. I always tell students, you have to kick the ball. You just absolutely have to kick the ball as much as you possibly can in a course like this. And that's how you learn. That's how you get better. Yes, I have a question from Musab. And everyone froze. Or no. Nate froze, Musab froze. Or no, you didn't. Nate, you just weren't moving. Cool. Well, Musab raised his hand and then he froze. Cole, I'm going to go ahead and stop the session because I don't see any questions. If you do, feel free to post them in Slack. If you have questions on the replets, post it in Slack. Say, hey guys, gals, I have a question on this one. It's not just for me. Anyone can answer. Cool. And I will see y'all on Thursday.